of the program. What the hell is going on? Now, I understand Ross Perot has decided to join the National League playoffs, and later this week he's taking on Atlanta. Did you see Ross Perot last night before the baseball began over there on CBS? He had a paid half-hour commercial. Did you watch this thing last night with Ross Perot? I don't know what happened. I was kind of mesmerized by his voice and maybe a little hypnotized or confused by all of those pie charts and graphs that he had. And I believe before the thing was over, I had phoned in and signed up for his Deal-A-Meal program. I don't know what the hell that was. This is kind of interesting. On Monday, General Norman Schwarzkopf is at a small town in Washington, and he's at a book signing. And some kind of an activist, a protester, throws fake blood on the general as a protest. So they race the general to a fake hospital. And they have him examined by a guy who's not a doctor. Fake blood to a fake hospital, and he was examined by a guy who's not a doctor. Nice to have you back from the Ukraine. Forgive me. The old club act is coming back. Sorry. Slipped right into the old club act. Here in New York City, ladies and gentlemen, McDonald's has exciting plans. They're announcing that they will be opening sidewalk cafes right here in Manhattan. Man, I'm telling you, filet-o-fish and bus fumes. Oh, getting hungry just thinking about it. Welcome to the show. We got a pretty good one tonight. Oh, the first name. You know something, the campaign, the election is about a month away, and I received this brochure in the mail. This is Bill Clinton's plan to put America back to work. That's what I got in the mail here. Look at this. This is a very, very expensive, slick, black and white, a lot of information on there, photos. Look at some of these items that Bill Clinton is proposing now it's all about fighting the fighting for the forgotten middle class. Now take a look at some of these items right here. Bill Clinton will cut taxes for the middle class and make the rich pay their fair share. Well, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, now the next item down there, Bill Clinton will encourage and maintain commitment to better education at every level. Now, okay, no problem with that. Take a look at this third entry right here. Bill Clinton will redeem cans and bottles from the White House and invest the money in lotto tickets. Wow, see, I'm just as stunned as you are. Anywhere you go in this country, ladies and gentlemen, you can't not hear people talking about the economy. They say the economy stinks, we're in a recession, we don't know what, could it be a depression, it's going on for long, interest rates are up, unemployment is up, inflation is up, and where will it all end? So I said to myself, you know, tonight would be an excellent night to examine economy at right here in New York City. We're going to go down to the stock exchange. We're going to go down to the stock exchange and take a look at the economy in action down there at the stock exchange. Okay, here, watch some of these things. Here we go. This is a little quiz for you about the economy. These men are A, processing an order, B, writing down the names of some promising stocks, C, making a note to wear less blue tomorrow. This man is thrilled because A, he holds a seat on the exchange, B, he's one of the market's top analysts, C, he's just sold 1,000 shares of his mustache. Oh, they get better. Oh, they get better. If you think that one was funny, hang on, because they get much, much better. Here we go. Number 3, we recognize this man as A, a trader, B, a clerk, C, from the cover of last J. Crew catalog. What did I tell you? This site clearly indicates A, the stock exchange has a barbershop, B, brokers like to stay well-groomed, C, the Dow is up. This security guard is troubled by A, frequent messages on his beeper, B, a steady stream of unauthorized visitors, C, holster rash. This man helped coin the phrase A, a leveraged buyout, B, junk bond, C, pork belly. For the past year and a half, this persistent employee has been A, helping brokers execute their trades, B, working exclusively for Payne Weber, C, trying to deliver this phone message to Michael Milken. Michael Milken's doing time now. He's in prison now. That's why it would be tough to deliver a message to him. This tour group is surprised to see A, the intense activity of the trading floor, B, the sheer volume of sales, C, Merrill kissing Lynch. Merrill Lynch, big trading investment firm, Merrill Lynch. Ah, good idea. Welcome back from the Ukraine. These employees deal exclusively with orders from A, Germany, B, Japan, C, Oprah. And finally, this man is A, checking coats, B, shining shoes, C, engaging in a little insider trading. There you go. That's our... All right. Okay. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Brokaw is on the... And here we have a 10-year-old who is enterprising enough to be publishing his own newspaper, and he sells advertising in it, so it's not like a little hobby sort of thing. It's a money-making deal. In fact, I was talking to him before the show, last quarter he grossed $870,000. 10 years old, grossed $878,000. Of course, then out of that comes your payments for the unions and your press and your newsprint and all of that, but... also on the show tonight, we have comedian Jimmy Alec will be back with us, and Paul Schaefer is not here. He's home with his loved ones celebrating the holidays, and in his place is Bette Sussman. Yeah. Now let's do our top 10 list, ladies and gentlemen. Get on with the big program. Yeah, absolutely. The category is from the Home Office in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and the category is Top 10 Signs Your Kid is Out of Shape. There was a study finding that American Health rates United States kids a C-. They are a little less than, just above average on the worldwide kid health program. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Top 10 signs now that your kid is out of shape. Here we go, number 10. Instead of teddy bear, sleeps with a cheeseburger. And number 9, while playing in yard, he's knocked unconscious by a moth. Number 8, he asked you to give him a ride from the living room to the den. Number 7, won't get out of bed until the pies arrive. Number 6, he can't even tear up a picture of the Pope. Number 5. Thank you very much. Thank you. How would you like to spend 3 hours at a meeting with NBC nitwits? Well, you could. You just never know when you might have to, but it could happen, believe me. Let's see. Number 5, whenever he walks around in new corduroys, neighbors yell, "Keep it down." Number 4, you hear him in his room saying, "Man, these CDs are heavy." And number 3, you let him stay up past his bedtime, and he can't. That's how out of shape he is. And number 2, when you drive by the McDonald's, the staff comes out to wave at your kid. And the number 1 sign your kid is out of shape, known around town as Elvis. That's it. Because of this situation with Sinead O'Connor and the Pope on Saturday Night Live, last night I was called into a meeting with the top NBC programming brain trust. And I learned something fascinating about network television these days. It's no longer, follow me on this, it's no longer about ratings, no longer about demographics, no longer about sales, no longer about programming, no longer about revenue. Network programming is interested in one thing and one thing only. Are we pressing any hot buttons? I was in a meeting for 3 hours last night and learned that invaluable lesson. Are we pressing any hot buttons? So, I don't know if we want to press them or if we shouldn't press them. But this weekend, I'm having all the buttons on this jacket replaced with the hot buttons. 3-hour meeting. Hot buttons. Are we pressing any hot buttons? I got home at midnight. Here, hey, press this. Thank you very much. Two programming wizards and a psychologist had me in my office for 3 lousy hours last night talking to me about hot buttons. I ain't making this up. One psychologist, two programming wizards. We were chatting about hot buttons. Oh, yeah, hot buttons. Let's bring out our first guest, and we'll grill him about this hot button. Our first guest is the program, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Brokaw. Welcome to the program. Thank you once again for joining us. How do you do?
No hot buttons in the news division.
Have you ever heard that expression?
Oh, there are a lot of those new expressions around. Hot buttons is one. Win-win is another one.
Win-win.
Win-win and lose-lose. Synergy.
Synergy. Okay, as you understand it, what does the term hot buttons mean?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, I can believe that. And win-win, what does win-win mean?
Win-win means you can't lose-lose.
But is it different from just win and lose?
Yes, it is. It is that you have two options. And they both win-win.
Or, if they are bad, then you could lose-lose.
Lose-lose. That's a lose-lose situation.
And none of this makes any sense to me.
No.
You know what all of this came from was the big situation with Sinead O'Connor on Saturday Night Live, tearing up the photograph of the Pope. And at the time when I saw it, I said to myself, I don't understand much of this.
It looks like a hot button to me. First thing I said. Every time I look at her head, I think hot button.
Hot button. Well, there you go. And so, I mean, do you have any opinions on this, any thoughts on this? And the reaction, of course, is huge because people don't like to see a religious personage or symbol treated that way, obviously. So that makes perfect sense.
In the long reach of things, I'm going to vote with the Pope. I mean, I think what you're going to do, if you're not going to take any chances, you know which way you want to go.
He's had more hits.
He's had more hits, that's right.
Did you also know that the network had a network psychologist?
I
don't know what for.
You and me,
for everybody.
For everyone.
If we're having some trouble at home, we'd like to talk it over. We come in and chat with Dr. Roz or somebody.
It seems to me that is a market-driven situation to have a network psychologist around. No, I did not.
Yeah, I was in a 3-hour meeting last night, Tom. When was the last time you were in a 3-hour meeting? When was the last time you did anything for 3 hours?
My whole day is a 3-hour meeting.
Oh, God. Let's talk about other things. Rumors again, rumors abounding that you might be considering running for office, that you might go to the Senate.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Have you ever considered it?
I have never considered it.
Do you know how the rumors get started?
I have a vague idea of how the rumors got started. A desperate writer at TV Guide heard somebody after a speech that I gave down in San Antonio to news directors say, we think, gee, he does that well. Maybe he'd like to get into politics someday. So this guy thought, well, there's a point of departure for me. He called around until he found somebody who said, yeah, I've heard talk that he'd like to get into politics. A lot of people at NBC think that that's the case.
No interest?
No interest.
No interest now? No interest ever?
No, I said the other day, I love my country much too much to subject it to me in the United States Senate.
You know, when I heard about this, I said to myself, it will not happen. It may happen in the future, 10 years, perhaps 15 years, perhaps, but I don't think it will ever happen. And my reasoning for that is you're just too good and smart at what you do to want to get into politics, is my feeling about it.
Well, I mean, the fact is that the United States Senate is a great and august chamber. It is still a noble profession, this business of being in politics. But
you can't say that without laughing, can you? You were keeping a straight face. I'm saying it's still a noble profession.
I have a lot of friends. The problem is that, I mean, there are people leaving the place now as quickly as they can because unfortunately, the job has been devalued, and it's been devalued not by the people who occupy the Senate entirely or by the institution itself, but we've devalued it. The country has in a lot of ways. We ask too much of them in small ways rather than in large ways. And when you have the kind of job that I do or the kind of whoever occupies this place, you know, you can pick up the phone and you can talk to who you want to, and you can probably have a bigger impact on a lot of the issues.
You know, they talk about Phil Donahue having political aspirations as well. I can see him probably doing it. That kind of makes sense to me.
But it'd be a little unusual for Phil to be down there on the floor. There's a key vote, and he says, "Is the caller there?" I don't know. I'm not sure that that's what we call profile and courage.
Are you using writers, Tom? You've gotten off a couple of good ones here tonight. Man alive. The anchor man is hot. Tom will be appearing at Yuck Yucks in Garden City, New Jersey over the weekend if you're out there. A 3-hour meeting. It's unbelievable. And one of the things that we were discussing was regarding the top 10 list. And the category was Sinead O'Connor's top 10 complaints about the Pope. And they were all designed to make Sinead O'Connor look unstable and ridiculous. And so we were going over them one by one. Number 10, she was upset because they scratched her car at the Vatican car wash. You know, just goofy stuff that would never happen, but Sinead O'Connor could be nuts about. And so we got down to the final one, and they said, this number 1, do you think you could change number 1? You have any idea what number 1 was? Sinead O'Connor was upset because the Pope never picks up a check. Right. And that was a hot button, Tom.
There's the NBC psychologist standing right over.
3 hours. 3 hours. Let's do a commercial. We'll return here with our old friend Tom. Welcome back to the show. Give him a wave, Tom. Give me your old parade wave. Hey, you're back home in Nebraska. Give him the old or South Dakota. South Dakota. Hey, give me the old. Tom Brokaw is here. Cute kid.
Right. We signed his homework. I actually just signed as a witness. You'll have to sign it later. He needs a deferment for homework.
Oh, really?
Yeah, since he's here.
Wow, now that will rock the school when they see that Tom Brokaw has signed off on the kid's homework.
Just a witness. Well, your name is going to be above mine, actually. That's going to be the big deal.
Only as it should be,
really big deal. I think 10 years from now, it'll be worth $2 or $3.
No, but isn't that cute and interesting and exciting that a young man, 10 years old, is doing that? I think that's great.
And he reviews restaurants, he told me. He writes about whatever is on his mind.
There's a little column in there where his father has, for him, reviewed beers.
Right.
Good. Dad volunteered for that one.
That's right.
I can help you out with that, son. And also on the show this evening, comedian Jimmy Allen.
I'm dizzy.
Let's talk about the big debates coming up. We have, are they three-way debates now or not three-way debates?
Yeah, Ross Perot has been, they've actually put it through a procedure in which they decided that he is a certified candidate. And so he'll be there on Sunday night in St. Louis.
And what form will those take?
They're going to take a variety of forms. The first one will be a panel of correspondents. And then there will be a single moderator. There will be one, I think it's in Richmond, where they'll go into the audience. They'll have 200 undecided voters there, and they'll do most of the questions at it.
And is NBC participating? Now, I read some kind of a release NBC was not participating.
No, we're not participating.
Now, what does that mean, you're not participating?
We're not participating because we think that it's inappropriate for the campaigns to have some kind of a veto power over who will do the questioning, and the campaigns will, in fact, have that. So we said none of us will then agree to participate. And
so the organizations of the candidate can control who is on the panel.
Right.
I see.
Names will be submitted to them. They'll say yay, nay, or whatever.
And anything you would like to suggest to us as we watch these? Anything for us to keep in mind? Do they mean anything? Do they make any difference?
I think they mean a lot. My guess is that most people will be watching them on Sunday night. They'll be on the 3 major networks plus CNN, obviously, and whoever else decides to pick it up. And debates in the past have been pivotal. As Bill Sapphire said the other day, as an old Nixon man, he said, the debate made the difference in 1960. If there had not been a debate, we might have had Watergate 8 years earlier.
Well, that would have been mighty convenient, wouldn't it?
That's right.
But did it make that much of a difference? Would it have been a landslide for Nixon without those debates? Because that election turned out to be very, very close anyway, right?
Well, it was close, but it was close in part because John Kennedy proved that he could hold his own against Nixon and then some. He was a kind of refreshing, new kind of presidential candidate. He seemed composed, he was dashing. Nixon seemed Nixonian, he was tired and he was sweating in the upper lip and the beard was showing through.
But I always liked that about him.
Yeah. Would someone call the NBC psychologist? Please?
Yeah, I need another session. See if you can't sign me up for 9 to midnight tonight. I wonder, it's hard to document this, or maybe it's not so hard, but was that the first understanding of just how powerful a positive image could be communicated on television? Do you think in a personal fashion?
That was a kind of a breakthrough in terms of the television age of presidential politics. People who heard it on radio, many people who heard it on radio believed that Nixon won. And when Reagan and Jimmy Carter debated in Cleveland in 1980, I was talking to a friend of mine from the New York Times the other day who worked his way into the hall and felt very proud that he was going to be there and a witness to all of that, and came out and said, Carter by a knockout, and all of the New York Times colleagues watching only on television said, get the NBC psychology. You've taken leave of your senses here. It was a big Reagan victory.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Now, I've had other of your colleagues. I've had Ted Koppel here. I've had Maria Shriver here, on and on and on. And I've asked people how they see the election, and any predictions, and no one, Tom, has had the courage heretofore to come out with a prediction about the election.
Well, I think in part because...
Do you have to remain just, I mean, as a journalist, can't you say, I think logically it'll be A or B?
Well, I think if I said, I think logically it'll be A or B, people will say, aha, between now and the election, he's trying to work his way illogically to point A or B in the coverage that he's doing. I also believe that the people are going to make up their minds in the closing 10 days of this campaign. We find in our polling that the support for the candidates is generally soft, although it's hardening up some. Clinton has maintained a substantial lead. That's bad news for the president. He's not been able to gain on him at this point. But these debates will be the pivotal events in the next 10 days or so, and they're worth watching. Also, it's important to remember that while we have been paying attention to what's going on in this presidential campaign for 10 months now, the American voters are just now beginning to concentrate on making their choices. They're beginning to push their hot buttons.
You know what I think will happen, and I think, laugh if you like, and please do, but I think that I just have a feeling now, after the election, they count up the votes, we're looking at a three-way tie, and we'll have to start all over again. I think, constitutionally, I think that's what's called for. If there is a tie, you have to begin the whole thing all over.
Let's bring them right here and resolve it right here on this program.
You know, some of them have been on. I think we had Bill Clinton on the phone, and Ross Perot on the phone as well.
That's right.
That's really interesting. I mean, in the old days, we couldn't get in the whiff.
They wouldn't do that.
Eisenhower wouldn't have been on this show. No. Mamie? Sure. We'd have had Mamie on here. Ike? No. Tom, good to see you again. We'll keep an eye on you as we get closer to the election. Our friend Tom Brokaw, ladies and gentlemen. I know a 10-year-old who owns his own newspaper. So there! Comedian
New York is John Sherman.
As of this moment, Ross Perot is still a candidate for the presidency of the United States. We will keep you updated on any further developments. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
Hi, how are you? Have them standing by, because I feel the need to be straightened out again tonight. Two programming geniuses and a psychologist on call every hour of the day to straighten me out. Phil Hartman will be on. Keep your eye on this one right here. That's the one that could win you $1,000. Our next guest is beginning his third year as editor-in-chief of his own newspaper. The name of the paper is Out of This World News. Ladies and gentlemen, from Glen Ellen, Illinois, please welcome Blake Slansky. Blake, come on out here. Program, Blake, before we chat about the newspaper, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? You are 10 years old.
Yes.
And tell us about your family, brothers and sisters.
Well, yeah, I have a brother. He pounds on me a lot. His name is Brett. He's 14. He's 6 foot. And,
he's 6 feet tall, 14 years
tall.
old? Wow, and he's beating you up?
Yes.
Well, you should write him up in the paper.
Yes, I do.
Have the cops come and haul him away.
In fact, I think you have a copy right there. You want me to read it to you?
We have some copies of the newspaper here. How did you begin publishing the paper?
Well, one day, I was just playing around doing nothing, and I decided it would be fun to do a
Between
newspaper.
poundings.
I just decided it would be fun to do a newspaper, so I went out and got myself a typist.
And a typist, how does a 10-year-old acquire the services
well,
of a typist?
The typist is my mom.
Ah, you got mom to do the typing for you. What are you paying Mom for that?
Nothing.
Attaboy. And what kind of things do you write about? Do you report about? What is the content generally of the newspaper?
Well, normally I write about anything, but I write about neighborhood news, the way a kid, being me, looks at things, and some things that have happened to me that are true and kind of humorous.
Give us an example of a true life happening from your own experience.
Well, I have something that I did a write-up on stitches when I had stitches.
How did you get the stitches?
Well,
had nothing to do with your brother.
I was playing on the rings at school. No. God forbid. I was playing on the rings at school, and I fell off and I heard this big bang.
Wow. The rings being you're just hanging and swinging on the rings?
hanging on the rings, and I fall down into the pebbles. My head hits it. Big bang.
Boom.
So I go over to my friends. I was really little then.
How old were you then?
I think it was first grade.
Wow.
I'm in fifth grade.
You're in fifth grade now.
So I go over.
So we're going way back, aren't we?
Yeah. So I go over to my friends, and I say, am I bleeding? And they just start grossing out. So, of course, I walk over to a teacher.
So they're scared. They see all of the blood coming out of your face, and they're
scared of me.
Yeah.
So I go over to one of the teachers, and my mom was doing some volunteer work in the library that day, kind of like she does with me for the typist. And
You got Mom on a pretty tight schedule.
they took me down to the office, and my mom came over and drove me to the emergency room, and there they decided I needed stitches.
How many stitches do you know?
I don't remember.
Had you had stitches ever before in your life?
No.
All right. So
never.
Now, to you, are you terrified when you hear the idea?
Definitely. Thought I was going to die.
Yep.
Little kid now.
Yeah.
So I get in, they clarify I'm going to have stitches, and I'm sitting there with the nurse thinking, well, I'm strong, I can run fast, I can escape.
But, you've lost a lot of blood.
So I'm jiggling around, and they bring in this restraint thing called a papoose when the doctor was going to do the stitches, so I didn't, punch him out or something.
They restrain you.
So he gave me the stitches, and it wasn't that bad, so now I know I don't have to punch out the doctor.
Yeah. Now, it's a lesson well learned. And how many stitches did you end up getting?
I think 3, 4.
Yeah. What is the reaction of the who gets the newspaper? Who subscribes to it? Does it go all over the town, all over the neighborhood?
All over the nation. There are people that
It does not.
Yes,
It goes
it does.
all. It's nationwide.
I have a subscriber in California. I have people in Connecticut.
Yeah.
All over.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send it free to you now.
Oh, thank you very much.
So now we got it New York to L.A.
You'll be competing soon with the International Herald Tribune. And what is the reaction of people who subscribe to the paper?
Well, they like it a lot. So they tell me. And sometimes they write me letters. I have a complaint form in there.
I saw the complaint form. I thought this
a
was kind of
little
cute. Yeah.
box.
Here's the complaint form right there. If you have anything that you'd like to pass along to the editor, write it right here in this box.
And please write legibly.
Restaurant reviews? You go into neighborhood restaurants?
Yes, I do restaurant reviews.
Give us an example of that. What's your favorite restaurant? What's your least favorite restaurant?
Let's do least favorite first.
Okay.
Get down to the worst.
All right.
Main Street Cafe.
All right. What's the matter with the Main Street Cafe?
They can't get your order, their soda is flat, and they run out of everything. That's about it.
Well, how is the food, though, other than the soda?
Well, they ran out of everything, so I didn't have much food, but it was okay. The soda's flat. The food's kind of regular food.
And your favorite restaurant?
Beijing. There's this lady there, and she really annoys me.
Is it actually
Great
in
food.
Beijing?
No, it's in Glen Ellen.
It's in Glen Ellen. I see.
There's this lady there. She really annoys me, but I love the food. She annoys me sometimes. And when I come in, she pinches my cheek. She rubs my back. And then she goes to our family, oh, you're my favorite family. She gives me this little kid placemat and sits me down and humiliates me literally in front of my brother.
Yeah.
Of course, I get a pounding for that.
And you're back in school now?
Yeah?
Are your classmates excited that you publish your own newspaper?
They're classmates.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's good.
They're not that excited, but,
it was a lot of fun meeting you, and I hope you had a good time here in New York City.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations on your success. Nice meeting you again. Please welcome back to the show, Jimmy Alec.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, as we all know, it's the 90s. Are you having fun in the 90s? You enjoying the 90s, really? See, I'm not too sure myself. See, I remember the 70s, and there was a saying in the 70s, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yeah. The 90s, all we really got left for fun is rock and roll. And let's face it, without sex and drugs, rock and roll is not that good. And you know, a lot of the rock stars, a lot of rock groups from the 70s are still touring. And to be honest with you, rock guys do not age well. Have you seen Crosby, Stills, and Nash lately? What has happened to these guys? What, do they have the munchies for the past 20 years? What happened to them? And it's a real shock when you see them. I mean, you know, they should, like, change their name to prepare you for the way they look. You know, they should maybe call themselves the All-Bald Fat Band or something. You know what they look like. But the 90s is going to be a very strange decade. We already have an Elvis stamp. Remember how we got that? We voted for it. You could vote for the young Elvis or the old Elvis. And as we all know, the young Elvis won because they couldn't fit old Elvis on a stamp. I actually voted for the old Elvis because I understand when you lick the back of the stamp, you got a buzz. So it was... Big decision to make in the 90s. Who will be our next president, huh? And what a choice we've got, too, huh? Oh. You know, George Bush is running scared. He's trying now to discourage Clinton from the presidency. He's now telling him that Barbara comes with the house. We also have to understand that if Bush and Quayle lose, they're out of jobs. They could be in the unemployment line. And with the economy the way it is now, they may not find jobs. Wouldn't that be something? They'd be in the unemployment line, and you know... And you know people be staring at him. People be going, oh, look at that poor old man and his nitwit son. Oh, it's so sad. There's a lot of people I don't get today. A lot of people do things I don't understand. Like, I don't understand people who drink non-alcoholic beer. I don't get it. What are they thinking? Oh, gee, I don't want to get drunk, but I would like to have a big fat gut. Is there a way I could stay straight and look like a pig? There's a way I can do both? I do not understand people who wear contact lenses to change the color of their eyes. I don't get this. You know what'd be much more practical? Whiteout contact lenses. Let's face it, you show up at work with no pupils, you're getting time off. You know, I do not understand guys that buy underwear without the little opening in it. We gotta have that little opening in our underwear, guys. I mean, even though we don't use it. I mean, when was the last time you used your opening? How old were you, 4, maybe 5? But thank God it's there. Because if it's not there, you're wearing panties. A lot of things my wife does, too, that I don't get. Like, ask, answer me this. Why do women watch TV commercials when they have remote control? Have you ever seen a woman use a remote control? Isn't it annoying? They go like this. Here we go. Click. And they actually enjoy the entire program. And guys are freaking out. We're going, give me that. Don't you know what a channel surf? Click, 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 click. Don't you know? Click, 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 click. What'd you watch last night, Jimmy? I watched everything. But I admire the women of the 90s because they're bold. Oh, yeah, women today are carrying condoms. How many women tonight have a condom with them? Look at the guys looking around, though. They're interesting. Women are bold. I've seen women walk in the stores. Yeah, I need a condom. Give me the lambskin lubricated one that's webbed with feathers and glows in the dark. And hold on, I got a coupon for that right here. Thank you.
Jimmy, very nice job.
Thank you, David.
Very funny. Good to see you again, and have a big weekend up there at the Improv in Seattle.
And this next weekend. And this weekend I'm working Igby's in West L.A.
Wow, good gig.
Good gig.
I think Tom Brokaw's out there the week following, isn't he? My thanks to Blake Slansky, the 10-year-old paper owner, and Tom Brokaw.